Okay, I call a meeting to order. The Mandan Public School District Number 1, the Mandan City Hall Bosch Freilich Room. Today is Monday, March 4th, 5:30 p.m. Please join me at the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everybody should have the agenda. Any changes to the agenda? Can I get what's the wishes of the board?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Ms. Kazajad and second by Ms. Huvestal. Ramanich, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Public communication. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak to anything on the agenda? Anybody? Anybody? No? Okay. Next item, the administrator's report. Dr. Bitts?
Yeah, I'll take the first two items on the top of the administrator's report. They're not necessarily Mandan Public School employees, but we belong to the Morton Sioux Special Education Unit, and we belong to the Heart River CTE unit, and both of those organizations hired new directors for next year. Morton Sioux has hired Julie Ketterling, who's currently a coordinator with the Morton Sioux unit, and she was promoted to be director. Feel really good about her. We had a really strong pool, and Julie Ketterling is going to do a great job for them. And then with Heart River CTE, Dan Dreesen, who's currently the vice president for academic affairs at Lake Region. I knew he was the vice president at Lake Region. I just wasn't sure what his title was, but he is going to be our CTE director. Dan is well known throughout the state, and he's going to do a nice job building partnerships for our CTE schools in the Heart River unit.
Okay. As far as both those positions, they're not our employees.
Correct. You don't need to make a motion, but we're on the governing board for both of those, so yes.
Okay.
Right.
Next up-
The next item I can take, federal monitoring report. If you remember, we talked a little bit about this fall. Every 5 years, we get monitored on all of our federal programming. So that's primarily Title I's our big hitter, but you're also looking at Title II, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a bunch of different ones. We got our initial monitoring results back, and overall, our district did exceptionally well. I think some things to note on here is all of our Title I schools met compliance across the board. We didn't have any corrective action, even minor corrective action, which is tremendous. If you look through it, there's three status pieces. There's met with conditions, and then there's not met. So anything that's met or met with conditions, there's nothing we have to do now. My plan with the met with conditions is this spring and summer to go back through and look at some policy things, some updating things, but we have really no timeline on that. They're just recommendations. The things that we have 30 days to address are the not met. And there were 5 of them in there. There was 2 in the Title II area, and it was just a miscommunication. We need to get them some documentation on what we do for new teacher training and with our coaches. I already have it submitted to them. I don't anticipate that to be an issue. The next one, Mr. Legacy and I are working on, it has a little bit to do with some of our nursing reimbursement. We just have to clarify with the state of how we're coding some things and some percentages. Again, nothing about the day-to-day business we do. It's just some of those bookkeeping pieces we need clarity on. And then the other couple ones were fairly minor. We need to adopt a policy for transportation for our foster care students. So it's something that we'll be bringing to policy and personnel, as well as we needed to submit some Title I ledger budget information regarding our homeless liaison, which we were able to do. And then the final one that they had us correct was in EL. We had some errors in stars. Well, what happens is it was correct when we submitted it. Then we get 7 new students that enroll, and so it kicked those errors. So we just had to go back through and correct those from the new students. So it's not anything that we did wrong per se. It was just needing to clean it up from when we had submitted. So those were the only 5 things that we were found that we need to correct. I think all are very important but minor in nature. They're things like policy. There's things that we just need to do a little bit differently. So overall, I can't say enough about the staff that we have, both on the business office side of things and just our teachers, our foster care liaison, our homeless liaison, all the different people that we have that carry out our federal programming. So if there's any questions, I would love to answer them.
Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Ritterath?
Okay.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
Oh, we get just free and reduced
Oh,
lunch
sorry.
real
I'm
quick.
ahead of you, sorry.
No, that's fine. We have our January numbers are part of the packet. You'll notice our district average for free and reduced is up just a bit. It's at 32.6%. We still have our same 5 schools that we've trended this year that would fall within that Title I services, Lakewood, Roosevelt, Custer, Mary Stark, and then the middle school. And we've talked a little bit about this. Lewis and Clark will transition. They'll have a grandfather year next year, but most likely it's going to transition off Title I, and we're going to be bringing on the middle school. So we don't anticipate new funds necessarily. It's just going to be shifting of what schools receive those title funds.
Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Dr. Ritterath, I had an inquiry from someone in the district recently about
Yeah.
this, asking sort of what our free and reduced lunch percentages was, so this is perfect timing.
Yeah.
But also their question was about unpaid lunch balances, which, we saw the middle school students raising funds. And I'm
Yep.
just wondering if you could speak to that a little bit so that I can be responsive, and if they're
Yeah.
watching, they'll know.
Yeah,
more.
absolutely. Like any district right now, we do have unpaid lunch balances, but we always make sure every student in our district gets lunch, gets the hot lunch. When we have unpaid lunch balances, that's an adult issue, that's not a student issue. So we really, our approach is we work directly with those families, adult to adult, and don't involve the student in that. And we have really nice resources in our family liaisons to do that and to reach out to those families. Can we get them on free and reduced? Are there some hurdles that we're encountering? But we never don't serve lunch to students, and our goal is to never let the student know that that's what's going on.
I love that answer. Do we have numbers?
We have about $20,000 in unpaid lunch balances right now as a district. So working with the middle school and those students, they actually were talking about maybe using that money to do a little bit of a food pantry or some things at the middle school as well, just to address some of those needs. So we really love that they're thinking outside the box and thinking about their fellow student and able to see some of those needs.
And if I can just step in here, we like our families who owe money, who can't pay, reach out and talk to us. We want to work with you. We do have some money that's been donated to us and that's available to help do balances. But it's hard when we don't know the situation, we don't know what's going on with you at your house, to just blanketly wipe away all debt and then wait for it to build up again. We'd like to take care of that. We want to work with you, but please reach out and talk to us.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, now moving on. Under the consent agenda, we have review and consider approval of previous board minutes, February 5th, 2024, February 20th, 2024. Review and consider approval of the January 2024 bills. Review and consider approval of the January 2024 revenue report. Review and consider approval of the January 2024 expenditures report. Accept the Heart River CTE minutes of January 31st, 2024. Accept the Student Achievement Committee minutes from January 22nd, 2024, and accept the Policy and Personnel minutes from February 13th, 2024. What are the wishes?
I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Peel, seconded by Mr. Peter, seconded by Ms. Peel. Any further discussion? Ms. Rabinich, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. We have no unfinished business, so moving on to new business. We have reviewed and considered the first reading of the following policies. We want to just go through these as we go, and if you have any questions, we can go address them as we.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take the first 4 here. So the first one's the federal fiscal compliance. Really, the only changes that were made on that is we, instead of will, we went to shall throughout the policy, but we didn't make any major substantive changes to this policy. I'll just kind of keep rolling through unless someone has a
going.
question. I do have to apologize on the purchasing procedures. Everything from general requirements and below should be in green. This came out of part of our federal monitoring that we needed to beef up this policy. They needed more in it. And so really, the Policy and Personnel Committee helped me. We took the school board's policy recommendations and put them in here. So it did make our policy quite lengthy, but it really is just kind of stepping out the law that's already in place on those pieces. The one piece I did want to kind of highlight in there that I think is important is we did put in there that we still want to give preference to local businesses if they can adequately supply and provide the service and deliver it to us when possible, if there's a local Mandan option that meets our needs, that will be our choice. Obviously, that's not always possible. And then the next policy, when we're looking at records retention, is actually a new policy for us. So that records retention and the schedule, again, came out of that federal monitoring piece that they wanted us to have a policy on that front. So we were able to use the school board's policy template to develop that. So that is a new policy for us. I think we've had it in the past, kind of have gone back and forth with it, but right now they want us to have this on the books. Any questions on those? Okay.
Okay, next up, Dr. Bitts.
Yep, I have the next policy, superintendent evaluation form, and that's CEE. And basically what we did is we took the superintendent job description and wrote a evaluation area for each one, went through it. Will evaluate me a little later on in the meeting, and we use this form for you even though you haven't adopted it yet.
It was better.
It was better, okay? And then I'll turn it back to Carly.
Yeah. Our next one is fiscal management goals and objectives. Again, just some minor wording changes within that, but no real major changes to that one. And then the next one, local tax revenues, we had no change on.
And then I had bond sales, and the only change we made to it is we linked it to a complementary document, which will be the next one, DFDA, post-issue compliance procedures for bond. And if you go to that one, that is the longest, driest policy you're ever going to see. Basically, there's rules. When we sell bonds, we can't make money on the investments. We have to spend whatever we make when we sell bonds, from the day we collect it until we have to spend it all within 2 years. And this is just a little check of how that works. I sent it to our bond counsel, Scott Wagner, and he sent it back with a thumbs up. Yep, yes, this all still is what you want. We did change from time to time when we called it periodically, and I put a couple of apostrophes in, but other than that, it's what Scott Wagner says we should have for this policy.
We tried to shorten it and couldn't figure out how to do it, so we needed to all stay
Correct.
in.
And then the next policy is gifts and bequests to school districts. It said that we could accept gifts deemed by the proper administration and staff, and we just changed that to superintendent designee. And that the school district reserves the right to refuse any gift, and then it had a bunch of, we just put a period there and deleted the rest of that sentence.
Okay, any questions on any of those? Okay, so we've got review and consider first reading the following policies: DCFA, federal fiscal compliance; DIEE, purchasing procedures; DBCD, records retention; DBCD-E1, records retention schedule; CE-E, superintendent evaluation; DA, fiscal management goals and objectives; DFA, local tax revenue; DFD, bond sales; DFDA, post-issuance compliance procedures and policies for bond issues; DFK, gifts and bequests to school district. What are the wishes?
I would move that we accept the first reading of those policies.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mrs. Peel. Any further discussion? Otherwise, Ms. Remenich, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Item B, we have review and consider approval of first reading of the policies for deletion, DFC revenue sources.
Yeah, and talking with Mr. Legacy and the Policy and Personnel Board, we just feel like this is practice. It does not need to be something that we have in policy, so we recommend the deletion of it.
Any questions on that? So we've got review and consider approval of first reading policies for deletion of the DFC revenue sources. What are the wishes?
I'll move for the deletion of that policy.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion by Ms. Huvestal, seconded by Ms. Kozajed. Any further discussion? Ms. Remenich, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Item C, review and consider approval of open enrollment applications for 24-25 school year. I believe we have a stack in front of us.
Correct, and this is the only time during the year that we don't say requesting a deadline waiver. And these are open enrollment applications that by law are required to be in by the end of February. The school board acts at them at one of their March meetings, and then they're in effect for the next year. And I didn't count them, but you have a packet of them in front of you. And it would be our recommendation that you accept these, and we welcome these students into our district next August.
Any questions on any of those? What are the wishes?
I would move that we accept the open enrollment applications for 24-25.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Peters, seconded by Ms. Furz. Any discussion? If not, Ms. Remenich, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next item we've got, review and consider approval of superintendent's evaluation. I believe President Wolf and you had, Dr. Bitts, you had met and discussed this
We
last
did,
week?
we met last Friday or Thursday at Mary Stark, and we went through it after the award ceremonies.
You're okay with the evaluation?
I am, thank you for your
Okay.
feedback.
Okay.
Thank you.
And everybody liked the new form better than previous?
Yeah. That was good.
Okay.
We should have this form for teachers, so that when administrators have to evaluate the teachers, that would be a nice form for them.
Okay. What is the wishes of the board?
I move to approve the superintendent's summative evaluation.
Oh, go ahead.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Ms. Kozajed, seconded by Mr. Huvestal. Any further discussion? Otherwise, Ms. Remenich, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next up, we got review and consider approval of the following letters of resignation. We got Amanda Meyer, Tiffany Town, and Stephen Kessler, but he's technically not really, I guess.
He's resigning the 25 extra days in his contract that AIC teachers get. But it would be our recommendation that you approve all these letters of recommendation and to thank these individuals for their service to Mandan Public Schools.
Any questions on any of those? What are the wishes?
I have a question about the extended contract. How many of our CTE-related or co-curricular programs have this?
CTV, almost all of our CTE programs do. They usually get 4 days for, they call it PDC, Professional Development Conference. And then the AIC teachers all had 25 days. And it's just been like that. They take things up to the state fair. They do, oh God, what is it called? They have all these projects that they do with their students in the summer. Mr. Kessler is going to resign that, and right now we have 3 ag teachers that do it. There will be 2 next year that do it.
Because he's technically our welding teacher, and so to run FFA, our ag teachers you have to do it. He's done it to help us with it, but it's not a requirement. He does Skills USA as part of his welding position, would be his CTSO that he's in charge of. So he's gone above and beyond because he has a strong ag background, but he also does esports and I think our new drone racing and a few other things. So I think it's just getting to be
Right.
more, and he wants to do a good job with it. And just to follow up on that, to the state, actually, CTE dictates those extra duty contract days. That's part of the requirement of those programs for us to provide those.
For the 4-day or the
Yes.
25-day?
And both.
Okay.
Correct. And CTSOs, I hate when people use acronyms and don't say it,
Sorry.
are Career and Tech Student Organizations. And, you know, one of the things that with CTSOs, FFA, HOSA, DECA, FBLA, I'm missing a few of them, skills, when they do that, for example, if Todd Sheldon resigns as football coach, I can be our football coach next year, or anybody I find on the street can be our football coach. If John Bauman resigns marching band, I can do that, or we can hire anybody off the street to do that. With CTSOs, it doesn't work that way. If you're not the teacher during the day, you can't compete. They're the only person that can serve as that advisor. So that's the way CTSOs are set up and the way they work. And we are reimbursed. For our Heart River programs, we get reimbursed 40% salary benefits of these teachers. If they're not a Heart River, it's either 27% or 13% reimbursement, depending upon the program.
So there's some opportunity that we might see some changes in these as our CTE with Heart River grows and does outreach with other.
Correct. We want, if we can make it a center program and share services, our reimbursement rate is better. I believe we were close to between 250 and 300,000 more in revenue that we took in because we joined the Heart River Center this year. And I think it's better for our kids and better for the kids in the unit because we're sharing services and sharing programming. And that's, the state incentivizes it. They want us to do that.
Great, thank you. Well, I'll move to approve the letters of resignation for Meyer, Town, and Kessler. And thank them for their years of service. With Meyer at Lewis and Clark, Town at Lakewood, and Kessler for his summer contract and extended contracts with welding.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion by Ms. Kozajat, seconded by Mr. Peters. Any further discussion? I guess, yeah, I'd like to say it also, to thank them for the years of service. I know Amanda Meyer, principal over there, Lewis and Clark, going over to Bismarck, crossing the river, but wish her well over there too, so. Ms. Rabinich, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Last item, we got future meeting dates, March 18th, regular school board meeting, 5:30 City Hall. March 25th, student achievement meeting, 5 o'clock Brave Center. April 1st, regular school board meeting, 5:30 City Hall. April 8th, policy and personnel, 5 o'clock at the Brave Center. Any other meetings coming up? Anything else? All right, I guess this meeting is adjourned.